Nick, we're back at it. We got this MK7 GTI in the bay. Came to us with a misfire, and they told us to do a carbon clean. I do feel it.
You do, right?
Yeah, I feel the misfire.
So, just because they want a carbon clean and everything like that, let's just take a little bit of Diag time.
Yep.
What do you think of my leg?
Looks good today.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could, like, just in case the viewers don't like nudity, I can, like, let's just get a little, because you feel that, right?
Yeah,
let's just
you can definitely feel the misfire.
Diag right now.
And how many miles do we have on this, Nick?
92.
92. And why is it important to at least do a carbon clean, you know, at this high mileage?
So check this out. Idle control system, RPM higher than expected. A carbon clean's not going to fix that. MAF, throttle position, incorrect correlation. Carbon clean's not going to fix that. So basically, we have other problems going on with this car.
So this was diagged at a dealership. And this
idle air control system higher than expected. It's usually a bad PCV.
Okay.
Laptop died.
Well, and this is why I told you to do our own diag. All right, Nick, what did we figure out?
So right now we have cylinder 3 currently misfiring.
What does the 154 mean?
So there's a problem on cylinder 3, whether it be a spark plug, a coil pack. It could be a stuck valve because of carbon, but spark plug, coil pack, stuck valve, injector, loss of compression. It could be like 5 things. So I know this customer wants a carbon clean for the misfiring, but obviously there's something else going on why cylinder 3 is misfiring. We need to go ahead and figure that out.
Thanks, Nick.
Meanwhile,
Say about him? This car's not getting wrapped.
No one has to tell me nothing. It's a fact that this is. Vanity Labs. Vanity Labs. Vanity Labs. Whoa! Yo, you see this number right here? 7?
What do we got?
C7.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spray brake clean on top of the PCB. Let me know if that goes up or down, okay?
Okay. So right now Nick's gonna spray brake clean. And Nick, what does the brake clean do?
It will take it, if there's a leak or a bad PCB, it'll take it into the motor.
And the number will shoot up.
And you'll get it.
All right, guys, so he's gonna spray that. If there's any leak or anything in the system, this number right here will shoot up.
Here I come.
Right there. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Are you ready?
Yep. It only got up to a 10.
It's staying the same?
Yeah, it's staying around the same.
It's not going up or down?
I mean, it's going up to like a 10. All right, Nick.
This number.
We got this number right here. So Nick,
if it goes up or down.
Nick is gonna spray brake
It's at
clean.
like a 5.
Yeah, it's at a 4.7.
Yeah, up or down. Okay, ready?
Go ahead. It's going down to like a 3.1. Now it went up to a 5.5.
Is it going crazy or just staying between 3 and 5?
It's going from a 6.3 to a 4.7. 6.3 to a 4.7.
What's it at?
Now it's at a 5.5. Now it's at a 2. Now it's at a 3.1.
All right.
Now it's at a 4.7.
Let it stable out, and then so obviously the spray's getting sucked into somewhere.
Right.
So let it stable out, and then we're gonna I'm gonna do little.
All right. Brett's spraying the PCV right now.
Yeah. You did it?
Yeah, I just doused the whole PCB and fucking.
There we go.
See it
So
drop?
we went from a 6 to a 0, 0 or a 1.
Yep.
So basically, it's adding 5%. The system's too lean, okay? So it's adding, the car's adding 5 to 6% fuel, which is not enough to set the check engine light, but it's still adding 6% fuel. When Brett sprays brake clean on top of the PCV, since the PCV, we found out just now, is bad,
Yep.
it's taking that brake clean and acting like fuel. So when it goes out to a 1, a 1.0 or a 0,
Yeah.
it's because it thinks that Brett added fuel to the motor, so it's compensating for that, and it basically is showing us that we have a bad PCV and a leaking intake manifold gasket.
Okay.
And as we can see, our misfires are literally going up as we
yeah,
speak.
They're going up like
Look.
crazy.
So it's
That's our misfire count for
Yeah.
cylinder 3.
That's our misfire count for cylinder 3. So we have a cylinder 3 misfire, there's a problem on cylinder 3, we have a bad PCV, and we have a leaking intake manifold gasket. The customer just bringing their car here for a carbon clean is not going to fix that problem by just doing a carbon clean, because obviously we just found a bad PCV and a bad intake manifold gasket.
Yep.
Intake manifold gasket, that part will be solved, but look at cylinder 3 right now.
That's shooting up like crazy.
Cylinder 3 is misfiring like crazy. So now, the next step we're probably gonna do is, we're probably gonna take all the plugs out, do a compression check, and make sure the motor's actually healthy before we go ahead and spend that $900 for just a carbon clean. Let's go ahead and get that done.
Let's do it. All right, Nick, what do we find here?
So as you guys know, this holds the coil pack down,
Right.
and then the grounding strap, if you don't have the turbo hand grounding strap, this right here, the grounding strap goes onto this, and then this holds this down.
Right.
What me and Tyler just found on this is literally a stud portraying out of the valve cover
Can I see
randomly.
it?
I've never seen that before.
So the stud
There's
that
a
is
stud
supposed to come out like this
Somebody,
is currently
yeah,
stuck.
somebody put a stud there. So what we're gonna do is, just because when we were spraying brake clean around here, the fuel trims changed, sometimes people go down a little bit too far and puncture into the valve cover. And when you do that, when you puncture into the cam cover, that will create idle system too high because you created a vacuum leak. So we're gonna go ahead and double nut this and get this out. Because when we get this out, we're gonna see if it went through. And if it went through, the whole car's problem is just a hole right inside the cam cover. I'm not saying that's what it is, but we need a process of elimination on this one.
We do. All right, Nick, we got the stud out.
We got the stud out. We found out it wasn't all the way through into the valve cover, causing a vacuum leak, so now we're gonna go ahead and do a compression check.
Yep. And we also get to check the plugs as well, because who knows if maybe they haven't changed the plugs in
Yeah, maybe the
God knows how long, you know?
Ooh, you know what's common on this? Maybe the electrode is broken on cylinder 3, and when the electrode fell down, it ruined the motor. We had a couple of those.
Let's check it out.
Let's check it out.
The plugs look good.
Plugs look brand new, but that
Yeah.
could just be a cover up for, like,
Something
you know,
else.
like if a spark plug broke, you know? So we're gonna go ahead and do a compression check.
And what are you doing with the camera?
I just want to see inside of cylinder 3. See if there was any bouncing around of any spark plug, the old one. It is running pretty damn lean though. Check the other ones out.
That one looks a lot better than the third one.
Yeah. The pistons are fucking clean as hell for... They're clean as hell for, what's that called? They could have did a fuel additive though, And
Okay,
a fuel
that cleared it out.
additive will clean the top of the piston like that.
Well, let's compression test this thing.
That's our next step. And then after.
All right, Nick, we are on cylinder 1.
Hey, if you're wondering what I'm doing, instead of having someone in the car, what I do is I hook this up to the starter.
Yep.
The signal wire. This is a way you can compression test your vehicle on your own if you don't have a friend. So we should have 200 on every, so if we go 80, 85, 90, 95, 200.
So we're looking for 200 on each cylinder. Now we are on to cylinder 2. Looks good.
Should we save 3 for last just in case there's a problem? You want to do it?
Yeah. Give the viewers some something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Now we're on cylinder 4. Here we go. Good. Stout, we call it. Fire.
Cold start.
And cylinder 3. So this was the one with the over 400 misfires when we had a scanner plugged into it. See what we got. The compression is good.
You saw how slow it went up though?
Do you know where Gene's wheel lock is?
Don't talk to me.
Don't talk to you?
It is 10 below.
That's
90, 95. Should we give it to it? 80,
it
85,
did.
90.
It did reach up slow, like you said. What would you say, Big D?
I just want to know where the wheel lock is. Do you know where the wheel lock is? He knows where it is. He just doesn't want to tell me. He's angry.
All the other ones were at 200, and that one creeped up slowly. What would you say, Big D?
It got to 200, it just got there slowly. But it got to while the car's running though, technically at 200.
It's supposed to do the same amount of cranks on all of them and see what it is.
Everything looked good.
So compression looked good. It had 200 on all 4 cylinders. So since that looked good, I know we have a bad PCB, but so since that looked good, we're gonna go ahead and take the intake manifold off now. Maybe see if cylinder 3 has such bad carbon on it, the valve's stuck.
Sweet.
I'm good. That's hot.
Hit a pause! Fucking, this car's not getting wrapped. How we doing, Nick?
Good. So we clean the carbon.
Yep. Looks great.
So you can see the nice brass valve seat. So we cleaned all the carbon off the intake valves. I personally don't think the carbon clean is going to fix the cylinder 3 misfire.
Right.
Me personally, I think a spark plug. I think since the new spark plugs are brand new, I think it was more of a cover-up thing where the old spark plug had broken.
Yep.
The electrode fell down and got sucked out the intake or exhaust valve, and it bent it just a little bit, just to causing compression to be off. It's off about 20 psi.
Right.
So we got 200, 200, about 190, 200. It's off like 10 psi. That shouldn't be enough to cause a misfire, but you never know because it's still something happened. What we're gonna do is just to know, we're gonna go back together. We're gonna be taking the injector fuel rail out, and we're gonna be switching cylinder 3 and 4 injector.
Okay.
And then we're gonna take cylinder 3 spark plug and switch it with 1. So when we put the car back together,
Coil pack, not spark plug.
Coil pack, yes.
Yeah.
When we put the car back together, we're gonna have cylinder 3 coil pack switch with number 1.
Yep.
If the misfire goes from cylinder 3 to number 1, we know it's a bad coil pack. If the misfire goes from cylinder 3 to cylinder 4, we know it's a bad injector. If the misfire stays on cylinder 3, then unfortunately having that, you know, compression be a little low, we have an internal problem with the motor on cylinder 3. So let's put it back together and see what we get.
Let's do it. All right, guys. So Nick is putting back together everything on the engine. Like you said before, we swapped coil pack number 3 with coil pack number, which one did we swap with? 4?
3 and 1.
So 3 and 1 were swapped. So this was previously on 3 where we had the misfire.
Cylinder 2 spark, cylinder 3 and 2 spark plug swap.
Yep.
And cylinder 3 and 4 injector swap.
So
where do you think it's gonna go?
I personally think the misfire is gonna stay on 3 because there's an internal problem.
That's what I think. Yeah, that's what I think too.
Now, hopefully it's the coil pack, because that's of course the easiest thing. But we're gonna find out. What do you think, Nick? All right, Nick, just like we suspected. Cylinder 3 misfire. It had 86 misfires when we were just running it right there.
So the engine's internally damaged on cylinder 3. With new spark plugs in the cylinder, I'm gonna go ahead and guess that the owner took the old spark plugs out
as a cover up.
Cylinder 3 was cylinder 3 spark plug that came out of that cylinder was definitely damaged.
Yeah.
The electrode probably fell off, and what it does is it gets sucked in through the valve, the exhaust or the intake, and when it does that, it damages the valve a little bit, just enough to cause this problem.
Yep.
They went ahead and put new spark plugs in it. The car obviously runs, but since the damage has occurred, so this vehicle will need a cylinder head refresh to fix the problem.
All right.
Hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of our
something different,
Friday diagnose
something that we get to diag differently when it goes to like a dealership or another shop, say, and they can't figure out
it went
the
ahead
issue.
and obviously switching the parts is good and all.
Yeah.
But pretty much when we knew we had a problem is when me and Tyler did the compression check.
Right.
And even though we were only like 10 psi off from cylinder 3 to 1, 2, and 4. Usually within like 20 to 30 psi off is when you'll feel a dead miss, and we only had like 10 to 15 off. But at idle, it's such enough to
you can feel it.
You could feel this miss.
Yeah.
And the next thing, if you want to do to make sure it's the head and not the lower end, it's not the lower end though. The pit, there's no oil on it or anything like that. But basically, you could do a leak down test.
Yep.
And then you could go ahead and take like a sensor off this and put your hand here and feel if you feel air coming out, or take the oil cap off, and that would be a ring lamp. That would be lower end. Or the dipstick, if there's air coming out of there, that's the lower end. But if we went ahead and did a leak down test, we would probably feel air coming out of the intake valve or exhaust valve. But we have an internal problem on cylinder 3, and this again is from this car had 90,000 miles on it, probably had the original plugs in it, and these cars, you really got to change these plugs every, a tuned vehicle every 10,000 miles for a tuned vehicle.
Yep.
A stock vehicle every 20 to 30,000 miles, you have to change them. The electrodes like to break on these cars, especially some guys don't really know what they're doing. They're listening to the forums and they're doing like RS3, RS7 upgraded plugs. Those are really known for the electrodes that are falling off and breaking. So stick to OEM plugs, or the Denso race plugs, or the NGK race plugs.
The NGKs are great.
But we have an internal failure on this one, so unfortunately we're going to call the customer now.
Thanks, Nick.